Hey everyone, welcome back to another Verizon training session. In today's lesson, we'll be showing you how the work plan application looks through the driver's point of view. And we'll begin by showing you how the courier can log in, how they can select their vehicle, and how they can filter out their pickups through a variety of methods. They can filter by a date range, or they can choose to filter by the status of the pickup, such as whether or not the pickup is incomplete or completed. We'll then show you how they can start their day on the work plan application by filling out their starting depot form. And then afterwards, we'll show you how they can do things such as statusing their jobs. And we'll show you an example of that through a routine pickup. So this is going to be a job that's already scheduled on the courier's route. Afterwards, we'll show you how on-calls are added and how that appears on the courier's work application. And in particular, we'll show you how you can refresh your jobs list in order to bring in any on-calls if, say, they're delayed. Afterwards, we'll show you how couriers can fill out a transfer form if they're relinquishing their specimen. And we'll also show you how they can then fill out an end depot form in order to end their route for the day. So the first thing we'll do is we'll show you how they can log in and select their vehicle. So right here, we're in the login page for the work plan application. And generally, the login username would be the courier's work provided email address. And then their employee ID will be their password to log into the application. So once we enter those fields in, you'll see it will take us then to a vehicle selection list. And here you'll see the vehicles within the region. And these are the drivers in Northern California. And in my example today, you'll see their vehicle list and their assigned name next to it. So in a previous video, we showed you how you can name your vehicles based off of your couriers that they're assigned to. And so then you can have this kind of a view where you're seeing their name and the license plate of the vehicle. And this could just make things a little bit easier in terms of helping ensure that your couriers are selecting their appropriate vehicles. In this example, because I'm not a courier in Northern California, I will be selecting one of these backup vehicles, which are unnamed. So once I click into that vehicle, it will then take me to a menu where I've got three options. I can select my jobs to the left side. I can look at any forms, which we'll get to later. And I can also go back to the vehicle page if, say, I had selected an incorrect vehicle. But I'm happy with the selection I made, so I'm going to go ahead and click into jobs. And once I do so, you'll see it will open up a jobs list. And you'll also see at the very top what the current filter criteria is for the jobs. So as you can see at the very top, our current filter is set to showing pickups or jobs that are happening today, Friday, April 22nd, and onwards. So it's also showing any pickups that occur on my Saturday route. So in this example, I am a courier working Friday, and I am also working the next day on Saturday. And as such, because of my current filter setting, I'm seeing pickups for Friday and Saturday. Now, these filters, again, can be edited. So if I choose to click on this filter button at the top left, I have a couple of criteria that I can choose to filter my jobs to. Again, at the very bottom, you'll see that it's defaulted to my current filter, which is today and onwards. But in this example, let's say I'm just concerned about seeing my pickups on Friday, April 22nd. So with that being the case, I can choose this option to filter by the date range. So when I click into by date range, it's going to open up the starting date that I want to filter by. So if I'm just focused on looking at April 22nd. I am okay with this selection, and I can click on Done for the starting date. And once I do so, it opens up another day we can filter by. And again, since I'm just interested in April 22nd, I'm okay with this ending date selection, and I'll also click Done. And now you'll see that my jobs view is just filtered to this particular day, and I'm not able to see my Saturday pickups. And this could be beneficial for your driver because it can help ensure that on a particular day they're selecting the right jobs and they're filling out the pickup forms on the correct date. So again, I'm just filtered currently to April 22nd. If I wanted to change the date range, I can do so by clicking back into the date range. Or if I wanted to, I can click filter again and I can go back to showing today and onwards. Or I can choose to show completed pickups. So these are pickups that I've already done. Or I can just filter to incomplete pickups. And what you'll see is then as I'm going through my route for the day, as I complete pickups, those jobs will disappear off of my jobs list, and I'll be left to only see the remaining incomplete jobs. And in this example, I'll select back onto today and onwards, and you'll see my Saturday's pickups all come back. So in that example, we showed you how you can log in and filter your jobs. Now let's go and show you an example of how once you're logged in and you've chosen the correct filtering that suits your purposes, how you can fill out your starting depot form and start your day. So you'll see here, I've got my jobs list. Again, it's to today and onwards. And the very first stop you'll see here, you'll notice to the right, you'll see the pickup type. So in this list here, the first job we have, and it should be the first job for every courier's route, it will always be a depot stop. So once we click in the depot, we can choose to click into that field, and once that loads up, you'll see that this is the address for this starting depot. You'll see that verified here in the job type. This is a depot. And at the very top, you'll notice there are three options here. There's an option for in route, on site, and completed. And you'll see that in the dispatch board, this is particularly useful to help notify your dispatchers where the courier currently is. So we'll go ahead and continue. And since we are a courier, we checked into our hub, we will select the on-site option. So once the courier selects this option, dispatchers will see on the dispatch board that they are on site at this location. So I've selected on site, and that's the very first thing you want to do if you are indeed on site for this pickup or this depot. Now scrolling down, you'll see that every pickup will have a required form associated with it, and those forms will differ based on the job type. So since this is a depot job type, I won't be picking up any specimen, but what I will be doing is filling out my vehicle safety check form. And this may be pretty familiar to some of you all and is very similar to what's currently being filled out in Sierra. But once I click into that vehicle safety check form, you'll see a series of prompts that will open up. So again, since we are starting our day, the first question will ask us if we are indeed starting, and we can select the yes option. And once we do so, it's going to open up a whole different set of prompts for us to fill out. And we can go through and fill out these prompts. First being, is the vehicle free of samples, and a camera check, as well as any vehicle damage checks. And what you'll notice later is that for any of these vehicle damage checks, if we select no on any of them, it's going to bring up a different prompt for us as well. And you'll see that in just a little bit. But again, just more questions asking about the courier start, vehicle, and any comments that they want to add in. They can then choose to sign the form. Now again, if there were, say, a damage to the vehicle, in this example, if the mirrors, if we had changed it and we had noticed that there were damages to the mirror, we can select no, it is not free of damages. And when we scroll down, you'll see there's going to be a different prompt. And in particular, it's going to notify the courier to call their management's team before they start their day. And this is just a way where we can build in another check for the courier. So if, say, there was damage to the vehicle or the decal or anything like that, if they select that option, it just reminds them to notify their team. So they can notify their team leads and perhaps be issued a backup vehicle or something like that. Again, it's just a way to improve communication between the drivers and the management team. But in this example, they can then go ahead and click submit afterwards. This is just a reminder. They don't need to do anything else. And once they click submit, you'll see that the form will then start submitting, and then there will be a green check mark here, meaning that, hey, all the required forms for this particular job type were filled out. And then the courier can scroll back up. And now, since they were on site, what they can then do now is, since they filled out all of their required forms, they can then pick the completed status. And it's going to then complete this job and bring them back to their jobs list. So here they click completed, and there you go. You can see that that first stop on their route, the depot, is signified by a green check mark, and that means it's completed. And again, if we had chosen to filter this view by incomplete, then once that was completed, this stop would disappear from their route, and they would just see these remaining stops that are incompleted. So now let's show you all how they're going to fill out a routine pickup. So again, in this view here, they filled out their AL800 starting depot, and this is going to be their next job that they're heading to. What we encourage them to do is they will click into that next pickup. So if they are indeed going to this account, AL727 next, they will click into that job, and then they will choose this option in route. So they'll click that, and then they'll begin driving to that AL727 location. Once they arrive, that's when they would change their status. And again, this is how the status looks like if they had selected in route. Once they do arrive on site to AL727, they'll click back into the job and change the status to being on site. And from there, again, you'll see, remember, every pickup, every required form is specific to the job type. So in this example, it's a routine box job type. So it has a pickup form. So when the courier clicks into the pickup form, you'll see a series of different questions. It'll ask them if they arrived within the planned arrival time. They did. They'll ask them if there's a barcode. And currently within the system of Verizon, the barcode scanner isn't working perfectly yet. So what they've done to bypass some of the issues with the barcode scanning is they've added a picture requirement afterwards for the barcode scanning, and that tends to improve the process. And in particular, where the bug is currently is once the courier scans their barcode, they may experience some lag time. But what we found is that once the pickup form prompts them to scan the barcode and then take a picture of the barcode, it improves that process and there is no lag time. So again, currently it's an extra step, but it's also going to improve the speed of the pickup form submission. And that is something we are currently working with Verizon to fix. But for now, they'll scan the barcode first, and then you'll see it will ask them to attach an image and take a picture of that barcode. So we'll take our picture and we'll choose to use that photo, and we've completed the scan and photo requirement for the box. Now, if there were specimen found, once they click yes, They can then select the particular type of specimens that they picked up, as well as the count. They'll enter in their count. And then once they scroll down, they'll sum up their total count for that account. It will then ask them if any supplies were being delivered to this account. And in this example, none. And then they can fill out any comments that they want. And they can sign their name. Again, once they submit that form, they'll see a green check mark next to the form. And then now when they scroll back up, they can mark this job as completed. And that will be updated with a green check mark as well for the job. So that's going to be how they can fill out a routine box pickup form. The next thing that you'll see is how an on-call looks like on their app. So you can see here, we've got our job listing and we've got a series of completed stops. And what you'll want to do is if you pull your job menu down, you'll see that sometimes an on-call may come in. So again, pulling down this isn't necessarily required, but it could speed up the addition of the on-calls. And even if they hadn't refreshed their menu, in a couple minutes, the on-call would populate on their jobs route, and they would see something like this. One new emergency job has been added to your list, and they can choose to view the job. This means that an on-call was added onto their route. And sure enough, when I choose view job, this is the job that is the on-call. And again, I can choose my status to en route. And once I arrive on site, I can choose on site. Again, going through the pickup forms. In this example, we'll say that this is a live account so that there is no barcode. And once we say no, it will ask us to enter in the account number. We can choose to clear out the random sequence of numbers, and we can enter in the appropriate account number. Again, we can choose if there was specimen found or not. In this example, we'll say there were no specimen. And if it's not a box, it's going to then ask us for a contact name at that location. Because it is a live pickup, that means that there are people at the spot, and we're asking the courier to get the contact name of the person saying that there is no specimen. They can fill out any comments as well. And then lastly, they will sign and then submit. Again, once the form is all completed, they can choose the completed status option at the very top right. It will take them back to their jobs menu, and it will show as completed. And the next thing they'll do is they'll select the next job on their list, they'll set it to en route, and once they arrive, they'll then go through the process again and say that they are on site and fill out any forms associated with that job type. So in this last example, we'll show you how the courier can start ending their day. So you can see here in this jobs list, I've got 2 remaining stops for the day, which are actually the same location. One of the stops is a transfer stop, so that's where we're going to be dropping off our specimen. And then the other stop is our ending depot stop, where we'll be again filling in a vehicle safety check form, but this time we'll be specifying that we're ending our day. So the transfer happens first, so we'll click into that job, and we're going to say we are on site. And again, it's a job type that's a transfer, so there will be a transfer form. And when I click into the transfer form, the first prompt will ask me to click into this little symbol here, and you'll see that all that does is it just gets a GPS ping of where the courier is at the time of this form submission. So they'll click into that, their location is tracked, and then they'll choose whether or not they are receiving or relinquishing. In this case, we are relinquishing or dropping off our specimen. So we'll select that option. And again, it's going to ask us a series of questions. It will then ask us if our coolers are empty. And it's also going to require pictures of these empty coolers. In this example, we've got 3 coolers that we were using during our route. So we're taking and submitting those pictures. And then the next thing it's going to ask us to do is to take pictures of our empty front and rear seats as well. Again, these are just, this is safety that is built in for the couriers to ensure that, hey, they're dropping off all their specimen, that everything's accounted for. So they'll click in the front seats. They can take a picture of their empty front seats and back seats as well. And again, any comments that they want to add, they can type it in there and they'll end with their signature. Once they submit the form, you'll see the completed status and they can choose completed. Now that they've completed their transfer form, they've got one remaining job, and that's going to be their ending depot form. So they can click into that job. They can select on-site, and they can go about filling out the end depot form, which is the vehicle safety check. But this time, instead of starting their day, they're going to select that they're ending their day. So they'll say no. And because they said no, the series of questions that follow are going to be slightly different. And again, no damage was incurred, so they say no, and they can sign. And now they can complete this ending depot stop. And you'll see that they've got green check marks all throughout the pickups for the day. So now they are safe and okay to be logging out and ending their day. And they can do so by clicking on this home button at the top left, which will take them back to this prompt here. And then at the bottom right in this power symbol, they can click on that to log out of the application. We'll ask them to confirm. And now they're back into their login screen, and the dispatchers will see that their route is completed for the day. So just to recap, what we showed you all today was how the drivers are going to be seeing the application, how they can log in, select their vehicle, how they can choose certain filter criteria that suits them, and also how they can go about filling out the various pickup forms, how they can refresh their list to bring in any on-calls, and lastly, how they can end their day by filling out the transfer forms and any end depot forms. Thank you all for your time, and we'll see you in the next recording.